Chito Vera vs Cory Sandhagen is going to be an absolute banger. With their main event fight scheduled later this week, a lot of people are extremely excited about this matchup. And this fight is extremely important because there could be title implications for the winner of this. But quickly, before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm JuicyMMA, I make opinionated MMA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. But anyways, let's get into it. Cory Sandhagen has been one of the better fighters in the bantamweight division for some time. He's been an extremely impressive and successful fighter with wins over guys like Frankie Edgar, Song Yadong, as well as many others. But the great thing about Cory is not only has he been very successful over the years, even having very competitive fights with guys like Petr Yan and others, but he's also been an incredibly entertaining fighter. So just imagine how skilled you need to be as successful as Cory has been, but also be extremely entertaining as well. And due to the entertaining nature of most of his fights, a lot of people have become fans of Cory over the years. But let's take a deeper dive into Cory's actual game to see what he does well out there. So starting with his stand-up ability, it is very clear that Cory Sandhagen is a stand-up fighter. He's extraordinarily fast, has a really nice jab, left or right straight, has a nice uppercut, a nice hook, has a phenomenal ability to switch stances whenever, and one of the better aspects of his stand-up ability is the fact that he moves so well. He does a phenomenal job at consistently giving his opponents different looks, making it very difficult to pick up reads, which is actually something that's very important in this specific matchup versus Chito Vera, which is something I'll get more into later. But besides that, Cory does a really nice job at throwing kicks to the legs, kicks to the body, and even sometimes kicks to the head with regular head kicks or even spinning hook kicks. And he's just an extremely talented and gifted offensive striker. Now in terms of his ground game, early on he definitely did struggle as he got choked out very early on in his matchup against Aljamain Sterling, but Aljo is probably the best jiu-jitsu practitioner in the division. But over the years, Cory has certainly gotten a lot better, and at this point I would say he has pretty good jiu-jitsu. Now in terms of his wrestling, this is also something Cory has been working on. We have seen him shoot for more takedowns, especially in his last matchup against Song Yadong, so this is definitely another aspect that Cory's getting better at. And over the years, Cory has talked a lot about becoming a true mixed martial artist and not just become a striker out there. And over the years, we really have seen him do a nice job and incorporating some other things to his game. But obviously, with that being said, the best aspect is definitely his stand-up game, and his other abilities are just decent at this point. Now in terms of his cardio, Cory has phenomenal cardio. In terms of his chin, he has a great chin as well. And overall, I would just say Cory is a very well-rounded and very talented fighter from top to bottom. But now, let's move on to Chito Vera. So Chito, similar to Cory, has been a very impressive and very successful fighter over the years. He has wins over the likes of guys like Sean O'Malley, Frankie Edgar, Davey Grant, Dominic Cruz, and even Rob Font. And the thing that makes Chito very unique for this bantamweight division is not only is he beating these guys, he's finishing them, or at the bare minimum, hurting them significantly, like we saw in that Rob Font fight. In my opinion, Chito Vera is the most dangerous fighter at the bantamweight division. But now, let's take a closer look at his game to see what he does well out there. So of course, similar to Cory, Chito is certainly a stand-up fighter out there. He does a really nice job throwing out that jab, that left or right straight, uppercut, hook, cross, does a really nice job at switching stances whenever he wants, but the main ability that Chito has is undoubtedly his kicks. He does a really nice job at throwing all types of kicks. Regular kicks to the legs, oblique kicks, kicks to the body, kicks to the head, front kicks to the head, spinning hook kicks to the head. Chito has a great ability to literally do everything out there in terms of his kicking game. But the thing about Chito, which I mentioned before, is he has a ton of power not only in his legs, but also in his hands. And due to that, we see Chito be a lot more patient out there and look for that one shot, as opposed to being a volume striker out there. Now at times, Chito can be a little too patient out there, but overall you can't complain with the success that he has been having. Now in terms of his ground game, Chito definitely has some nice abilities to throw up submissions at times, but he's not necessarily known for this, and his wrestling isn't necessarily something that he's known for either. But in terms of his chin, Chito has a ridiculously good chin. Not only does he have a great ability to take shots, but he also rarely gets cut, which is actually a huge advantage for him. Now in terms of his cardio, Chito also has great cardio. He's literally built for 5 rounds out there. And from top to bottom, I would certainly say Chito is one of the better fighters in the division. But now, Now, let's get into my prediction for this fight. What do I think is going to happen? Now, I think this matchup is extremely close, and I could see both of these guys having paths to victory. And we see exactly that by the odds makers, as Chito Vera is currently a plus 150 underdog, as Cory Sandhagen is a minus 175. But early on, I see Cory Sandhagen having a ton of success. I think he's going to pop that jab out there a ton. I think he's going to be very active with his punches, with his kicks, maybe even look to take the fight to the ground a couple of times. And overall, I think in the first 2 rounds, he's going to win those rounds and he's going to have a lot of success. But I think the 3rd round is going to be extremely crucial. That's typically when Chito Vera starts to pick up his opponent's reads and starts to be more active. So I do think there is a potential that the 3rd round does determine who wins this matchup. As in the 4th and 5th rounds, that's typically where Chito does his best work, and it would be very difficult for Cory to take those rounds as well. But getting into my official prediction for this matchup, I see Chito Vera getting the win by a 4th or 5th round TKO. As I mentioned before, I think Cory Sandhagen is going to win the first 2 rounds, but Chito's going to lay back and make some reads, and once it comes down to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds, he's going to have that read under his belt and know exactly when to counter. Now, there is a possibility that Cory looks to take the fight to the ground a couple times just to give Chito some more things to think about, even if he's not successful with those. But even with that being said, I do think Chito is eventually going to find his read, and he's eventually going to find that one huge blow, whether that's a kick or even whether that's a punch. He's that powerful to eventually put Cory away. Now, of course, there is a possibility that Cory just never slows down and Chito never picks up his reads, as Cory could be pretty difficult to pick up his tendencies at times, but we have seen a guy like Petr Yan pick up Cory's tendencies in the past, and in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds of that matchup, Petr Yan was able to do a much better job at countering Cory. And I do think this fight could potentially look similar, but I also think at the same time, Chito has a lot more power than Petr, so I could see there being a finish by Chito in this matchup. But I guess only time will tell what does end up happening in this matchup. But one thing that I will say is I am extremely excited about it. I think it's going to be a very entertaining and exciting fight. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Chito Vera will be able to find a way to win this matchup, or do you have Cory winning? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy it, check one of these 2 videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out guys.